And there we go. Okay, hopefully you're seeing that. Social Media Essentials for Business, yes? All
Good.
good? All right. Well, welcome to Social Media Essentials for Business. And we do just quick little housekeeping, if Tim had mentioned this, we do have both Q&A and chat. So make sure you're putting questions in the chat and any comments, networking, whatever you want to do in the chat feature, you can do it there just so I can distinguish the questions. I will attempt to answer them along the way, and then hopefully a little time at the end as well to continue on with those questions. So welcome everyone. So a little bit more about me. Yes, I teach for SCORE chapters all over the country. As I mentioned, I'm a volunteer in Los Angeles as well. Voluntold. I was voluntold onto the workshop committee back in 2019. But happily, it's fine. Love SCORE, love everything about SCORE, and I am an active entrepreneur, as we say. There's a lot of volunteer retired folks, but I'm in the active stage here. But I have been in the online space, as you can see here, since the internet dinosaurs roamed the earth, as I like to say. I worked for a gift basket company up in the San Francisco Bay Area and helped them get online. They were a traditional catalog and retailer at the time, and launched them online and brought that to $1 million plus part of their business. Been in the wine industry now for 20 years. We're just talking about that on the technology and marketing side. So I do work with nonprofits, B2B, B2C, a little bit of everything. And that's me. So that's all I'll share today. For those that are new to me. So now you get to share in the chat, please, in one message, if you can, put what type of business do you have? I'd like to know who's in the room and what you do. And if you want to share, what is your biggest social media challenge? Like what brought you here today to learn? What's going on with your marketing and your social media? I'd love to know. So just put that in one chat message, not in the Q&A. And you're welcome. Also, we have, what is our number here now? Oops, there's my Zoom bar. We have about 45 business owners in the room. So you never know who could be customers. So feel free to network, share your LinkedIn, which you're going to want to do. I'm going to talk about LinkedIn and get your profile and your page and link ready, because you're going to want to share that after I talk about LinkedIn. So you always want to be connecting to people that could be potential customers or collaborators. So insurance is business building up, coffee, wine, unique accessories, building up followers is a big challenge. I'm going to share I'm going to tease you with it. I wish I could show the live version, but one of my coaching clients went very viral this week with one of his posts, one of his reels on Instagram. We're still trying to figure out exactly what happened, but you never know. What you put up wasn't anything that he would expect it to go viral, but it did. So we'll talk about that as well. So thanks everybody for sharing what you do and what your marketing social media challenges right now. See a few familiar names here. So welcome. All right. So I love this from Gary Vaynerchuk. You've probably seen this in my other classes. The best marketing strategy ever is to care, right? At the very base of everything, care about what you do, who you serve, care about your marketing, your employees, everything around you, and it's going to show, right? It will, definitely care about your marketing enough to do it, and will help you grow your business. So I've known Gary for about 20 years because he's in the wine industry as well as being in media. So I met him back, like I said, 20 years ago. His family has a wine library in New Jersey. So we kind of cross paths on both the wine and the marketing side. So on the marketing, advertising, media side, we call it kind of paid, owned, earned, POEM media. Where does everything fall in? Social media, social media falls in kind of the owned media, but it really falls under all three of these areas, right? So your owned media space is everything you own. Obviously, it's what you have control over, right? You don't own the website platform or the social media platforms, but you own the content, right? So you control what you're going to put on your website, what products you're going to sell, what blog content you're going to do, what you're going to put on social media, emails, etc. Right? Paid media. Guess what that is? Paid, anything paid. So social media, you pay for social media ads, potentially pay-per-click, your Google ads, influencer marketing, which is social, but you might pay for influencers, probably will, banner ads, etc. Earned media is obviously what you earn. So public relations can fall under that, but also you might pay to get earned media, right? To get media to talk about you, promote you, report about you. You might hire a publicist to get that earned media. Testimonials and reviews, that's also considered earned. So then they kind of cross over, and you have to figure there's also traditional versus digital media and advertising. I know it can be very confusing world of where do you spend your time and money for your business. So definitely should focus on the owned media side of it, things first. Make sure your world, everything you have full control over is right and tight, right? You have a good website, everything's functioning. You have social media is all locked in. You're getting an email list together. So, before you start paying and potentially earning, have your home base functional and good, right? I'll talk a little bit about Google ads versus social media ads. They have different purposes, right? I don't have a section here on ads because I've been, trying to keep this shorter. But think about, I'll kind of mention that now since we're kind of in it, right? That'd be paid. Google ads, paid media, social media is paid, but the intent behind them is different, right? So we go to Google when we usually immediately want something. We want information. We're looking to buy something. My toilet broke. I need to call a plumber, right? Am I going to go to social media and look for plumbers to fix my toilet that just broke? No, right? I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to type plumbers near me, right? Or whatever product or service you're needing. I'm going to find a plumber and then I'm going to call them up and they're going to come down, right? That's not going to happen on social media. So I always look at everything holistically when I'm talking to potential clients. And I say, well, what is the nature of their business? Is it something that people generally highly search for first? So maybe like limo drivers, they limo services to the airport. So that might be something like I'm going to the airport next week for a trip. I need to look up limo drivers or shuttles or whatever if I'm not doing Uber or driving myself. And I'm going to go to Google, right? I'm not going to go to social media. So social media ads are better fit for brand awareness, right? Something that people aren't necessarily searching for, but you want to build that brand awareness for them to make an impulse purchase, perhaps. So that would be the difference. So one's not better than the others. And even like say HVAC, right? Your air conditioning breaks down. Again, go to Google, find that HVAC near you. They come fix it. But maybe the HVAC person, maybe in the slower times, maybe in the winter, they put out social media ads to remind them, hey, get your air conditioning unit maintained, checked on before the hot season comes, before summer comes. That would be kind of building that brand awareness. So like, oh yes, yeah, Joe's HVAC. I'm going to call him now that my air conditioning broke because I didn't listen to him and maintain it, right? So as that's hopefully in a nutshell explains kind of the difference between the two. So I always look at SEO Google for that immediate intent versus the brand awareness. So, but before you go any further, right, you need to know, you should know exactly where you need to go before you go there. Meaning you're not gonna, if you need to take a train downtown or a bus, you're just not gonna like hop on any train or bus. You're gonna probably look and see, is it the A train, the B train, bus number 333? So make sure you don't waste your time and money traveling around the city trying to get to your destination. We don't want to do that with our marketing either, right? We want to make sure that we have a plan in place. I know a lot of times your marketing can kind of feel like this, right? Is anybody like, I have one here, Rubik's Cube, and you're like figuring out your marketing plan and you're twisting the cube and you're trying to line the color. I'm like, okay, I think I got it. No, let me twist it again. Anybody feel like that's their marketing plan right now? Raise your hand, right? We're trying to get it to that, everything matches up, but you keep twisting it. It's can be confusing which way you go. And, I don't want you guys to be twisting the cube all the time, but we do want to have a plan in place with it. We don't want to throw the spaghetti on the wall either to see what sticks. We want to have a plan. So before we start on the social media, which is step 5 in this strategy circle from my marketing plan class, step back and look at those steps 1 through 4 and 6 and 7, right? Or do you have goals set? Most important feature that unlocks your whole marketing plan is, who are your customers? Do you know exactly who they are? Are you saying I can help everybody? Or if you have a couple of different audiences, are you marketing them different ways? Some of you might have multiple audiences that need different marketing messaging, right? But if you don't have that locked and right, everything else is not going to be right, right? Your plan will be wrong to the wrong people. Are you doing SWOT analysis? See what you're doing good, what you're doing bad, what you need to change. Have you done competitor analysis to see what they're doing? Do you know what your unique selling proposition is or unique selling value? What about your branding, your messaging, your visuals? Is it telling the right story to the right people? Right? If you don't have two near in place, then the four is not going to make sense. Right? Do you have a plan in place to execute on your marketing? Right? People, tools, processes, budgets, etc. And are you looking, do you know how to look under the hood? And are you looking under the hood? Is any of this working? Are you looking at engagement, reach, numbers, conversion, etc.? So all of this is part of the marketing mix, is to have a plan in place. I know SCORE mentors can help build a business plan. Sometimes that includes some marketing, and help with marketing plans. I can help with marketing plans, but have a plan before you start spending that time and money on the channels, email, social, etc. Right, your owned media. Make sure you have that plan in place. So at some point, I always have the marketing plan 101 on my schedule somewhere. Definitely check that out. Have a plan in place. So I always love this from Seth Godin. Build it and they will come only works in the movies. Social media is a build it, nurture it, engage them, and they may come and stay. Right. Seth, like Gary Vaynerchuk, is one of those definitely marketing gurus out there. He's written a lot of great books. So definitely knows of what he speaks, and it's very true, right? It's not a build it and they will come thing out there. It definitely takes time to nurture it. So with that, I think I answered your question, Aaron, on the Google versus social media. I saw the question come up again. So hopefully that made sense for you. So my top 10 social media marketing mistakes not to make. If you're already making some, stop it or don't make them at all. But no plan in place. I just said that, right? We don't want to figure out twisting the cube, what that looks like. Not being consistent in any of your marketing, you need to be consistent, right? You can't stop and start and do it for once in a while. You need to have that consistent marketing for it to work. I'll kind of show you that example with my client that went viral this week. It's pretty cool. Not being clear about short-term and long-term goals. So your short-term goal is just to be on social media, right? Figure out who your clients are, get your social media set up, make sure you're on the right platforms, get it all pretty and everything. That's your short-term goal, but it really should be a long-term goal because it's a slow burn. It takes time to build up. Someone mentioned I need followers. It takes time to build up followers, get content out there on a consistent basis, then we'll get followers. Right? It's not years ago, it was about like, I need 100,000 followers. People were buying followers, but they really weren't focusing on the content. What's going to make people stay and engage with you if you're just building up numbers, but you're not building up good content for them. So now it's really about having good content that will engage them and they care about, right? So number 4 is kind of tied into number 3, right? If you're not clear about those short-term and long-term goals, you'll probably be expecting too much in too short of a time, and then you'll just give up, right? I know it happens. We're like, I've tried it. I've been doing my Facebook and Instagrams and just nothing's happening. So just forget it. I'm not going to do it anymore. And then you give up and then you abandon your social media and the algorithm, and you kind of have to start all over, right? Chris is like, that's me. It's okay. You can admit it. There's no judgment zone, right? I know the pain. I understand the pain. Picking platforms based on what you like, not where your customers are, right? I hear this. I talk to people and do strategy sessions and all that. And I say, well, are you on Facebook or on Instagram? Well, I really prefer Instagram. So I kind of just post there and I just let whatever happens happen on Facebook. And I'm like, are you sure this isn't where your customer might be there? So you're kind of treating it like, the ugly cousin, and it's like, maybe that should be the first one. So it's just because you like Instagram or you prefer, Facebook or TikTok or whatever. Are you sure your customers? You're not your customer, right? So don't base it on what you like or like, hey, I don't really like hanging out on Facebook, so I'm not going to bother posting there. But if you know where your customers are, you don't have to hang out there if they're really not there. But if they are, don't judge it based on like you just don't like it, or treat it like that secondary thought that you're just posting, connecting platforms and just whatever post there. And I'll explain why it's not a good idea to connect them. You could do it, but it's not a good idea to do that. Okay. No idea which platforms your ideal customer hangs out. It's kind of tough. Oops, I went backwards. There we go. Sorry. My mouse is overreacting here to touch. That's tied into number 5, right? You're gonna kind of have to know who your customers are, right? And first, like I said in my strategy circle, then you'll know this class is all about number 6, right? This isn't the like, how do I set up an Instagram account or what things do I post on it? This is going to be a class about, because I get this all the time, is who's hanging out where, which platforms, who's mostly hanging out there, and kind of the basics of each: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. I'll talk about that for B2B. Talking about building content, getting a strategy in place to have consistent content. That's what this is about. I want you guys just to be consistent and trust the process of it and continue to do it, right? Not get frustrated with it. So that's what this particular class is about. So again, no idea which platforms your ideal customers hang out. So that's an idea of, now you're going to know, right? By the demographics, not measuring the right numbers. So we tend, again, like, oh, we have 10,000 followers on Instagram and 5,000 on Facebook. Great. But are they doing anything? Are they engaging? Are they getting any reach from that? Is there any conversion potentially happening? It's not as clear as, say, email marketing, right? That has the best conversion out there of any marketing tool out there. So you can get an immediate conversion where, social media is more about building that brand awareness, building relationships, but you still want to measure everything, right? So making sure you're checking, you can check how many followers you have and likes and stuff of that, but you also want to check the engagement and reach you're getting, right? Not having quality content in place. So yeah, marketing's all about content, right? So you need good quality images, video content. I would say at minimum, good stock photography. Find a brand photographer in your area that can do your employees, your location if you have one, your stuff, your pictures of your products and stuff. Good quality. Yes, you can use camera phone, video phone content as well, but you do want to have good stock stuff to use on your website, to use for advertising. Once you have good, like, say, for example, you're a bakery, do you need to keep taking pictures of that same cupcake over and over again, for social media? No. You have it in different setups and things, but do I need a close-up picture of my, what is that, red velvet cupcake, in 20 different positions? Once you get some good stock photography of each product, you can kind of reuse them, So have that good quality content in place, in addition to the kind of the raw stuff that you might shoot on a regular basis. And then this one, trying to do it yourself when you don't like social media. So who wants to admit as a business owner they hate social media? I don't do it myself. I don't like it. You can raise your hand, say yes in chat. No judgment. You can hate it, right? I hear this a lot. Like, I just don't use it. I don't like it. It's annoying, right? So it's okay. It's not, you think about 20 years ago before it existed, Facebook is 21 years old. And what's the one before that? MySpace. But it wasn't natural. It wasn't something we did 20 plus years ago, right? So someone said, I can't stand it. But this is the world we live in now, right? Our worlds, somewhat revolve around social media. People have careers around social media, other than, say, like me, but I'm social media influencers, right? Kids now, the youngins are going out, say, I don't need to go to college. I'm going to be a social media influencer. I'm going to create YouTube videos that are going to go viral. And hey, it works. If it works, great. No judgment on that. But again, as a business owner, this is one place that you just have to figure out where your customers are and spend that time. If your customers are there, you need to be there. If you don't like doing it, don't be the one to do it, right? If you're the only option, like I can't bring anybody in to do it, then you're going to have to embrace it, right? But just, learn to embrace it and love it. You don't have to do it personally and post up what you ate for dinner and how cute your dog is. Just do it for your business beyond to, okay? And then thinking everybody can do social media. Yeah, sure, right? We all can go down Instagram and Facebook and put up a post, some better than others, right? Some might be really good at videos and great. I have a colleague that I live vicariously through her, because she she Facebooks everything. She does stories, and I'm just, where is she today? I'm out to lunch with her and I'm about to put a spoonful of pasta in my mouth. And she's like, wait, we got to boomerang this. I'm like, I wouldn't stop and think about that myself, but I don't need to boomerang and gram every moment, but it just comes natural for her. You know, she's out there in a public position and marketing like me, and it's more natural for her to do it. That's okay. But thinking everybody can do social media shouldn't be your 17-year-old daughter who happens to be great on creating Instagram and TikTok videos, or your son who loves doing YouTube videos. Cool, but there is more strategy than just creating cool posts, you know, or creating cool videos, or they know how to use the latest music, which you can't really do with, you know, with commercial use anyways. But again, treat marketing just as seriously as you would. You say, would you have your daughter do your HR because she's really good with people, or she gets straight A's in math, so let's make her the company accountant? Right? Probably not. Let them finish high school, but marketing should be treated the same. I know maybe this feels like a cheap or free option to have your kid do it. But again, there is more to it than just they know how to create the Instagram videos and you don't know how to do it. Let them do that, but have a strategy in place behind it, you know, so that it is consistent, it's flowing, you know, you're reaching the right audience. They might think in their world, hey, all of my friends are just on hanging out on TikTok, so that's all we need to do. Your audience might be hanging out more on Facebook, or you need to be on LinkedIn. I've been talking to even clients this week where the kids, their own kids are focusing more on, let's do some viral TikTok videos with music. And I'm like, well, you know, you really need to be doing more educational, and you be talking through your videos as well. You know, so you do have to, you know, be mindful. So just everybody can do it, but have the right people do it for you. Okay. So why should you be on social media? Of course, increases brand awareness, humanizes your brand, right? They want to know the story behind you as much as you want to share, right? Like I said, a lot of people aren't sharers, want to know your personal business and all that, but they want to see the humans behind the brand, right? Definitely helps us stay top of mind. It's kind of the purpose of it. Increases potentially website traffic, right? So if you're going to partner with influencers, it definitely gives you a platform for that, builds that reputation and goodwill. Handle crisis. Hopefully we don't have to do that. I just became a board member for the Social Media Club of Los Angeles, and we just had our first board meeting. And one of the gals on our board is at UCLA here in LA, and she had to leave the meeting early because they were dealing with the campus protests, and she has to handle the social media and I think some of the news stuff around that. So she was right in the middle of crisis management with her social media on that. So that can happen. Hopefully not to everybody. Definitely will give you meaningful insights about who your customers are, who follows you where, etc. And then, you know, check out what the competition is doing on social media. If they're speaking to the same potential customers, what are they talking about? What do their posts look like? Where are they located? Which platforms are they on? Not saying go copy them, but, you know, see what they're doing. So see, you need to do better. All right. Okay, so we'll make sure if we have any questions. No questions. So if there are any questions, and it looks like Tim's answering them too, just put them in the Q&A. Okay, so let's talk about who, what, where, when. Where is everybody hanging out? Who's hanging out on social media? Why and what and all that. So that's what we're going to talk about now. Okay. So overall, the most popular social media app, Facebook, as you can see, is still number one. Number two, the numbers are not as close as far as how many billions of users are on Facebook, but YouTube surpassed Instagram as the second most popular platform, followed by Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Reddit, Threads, and Tumblr. And Threads is an audio app through Meta, through Facebook. On there, fairly new, so it doesn't have that much market share out there, but you can see out of the top ones, you know, TikTok is fairly new compared to the other older 20 years. Instagram is 14 years this year. LinkedIn is actually the oldest, I think 21, 22 years this year, but you know, it's different to be more B2B than it is B2C. So again, you know, Facebook is still number one, hasn't gone anywhere. As far as the social media usage by generation, this is overall, who's hanging out on social media anywhere? right? So you can see, and I put on here the current ages of the different generations. And then on the bottom, I put the years in case you're wondering, like, who's in which generation? Which generation do I fall into? Right. So as you can see here, Gen Z, the Zillennials are 12 to 27 this year. Gen Y are millennials, 28 to 43. A lot of people think millennials are still all in college, but maybe on the top end. They're middle-aged already. Gen X are like right in the middle of those two big groups, 59 at the top, almost 60. I would say the lightest. The youngest boomer turned 60 this year. Big group, right? Aging rapidly. Silent or golden generation, 79 plus. So now you can look at the chart here and see overall, makes sense. The younger generation, they're not too far off, does drop a little bit, as you can see, for the Gen X group, and then the baby boomers and above will drop, much more, much less, I should say, than the other groups out there. They're a little bit different mixtures in the different platforms, as I'll show you, but they are out there. Probably as you get in that lower boomers more so, but a few older people are out there as well. But interestingly enough, oops, sorry, my mouse, it just wants to jump. So anybody here, we'll ask now, anybody here in the room have a product or service that really only services seniors? Right. And not that, hey, I paint houses for people and I paint seniors' houses, but do you have a product or service that is just catering to, say, 65 plus? And if you do, put it in the chat, say yes, and put what exactly you do in the chat. Like home care services, something that only really the seniors would use, product or service. Anybody here in the room? Share it. Sometimes I have on there. Or on the other side of it, anybody have a product or service that caters to children, say under teenagers, or 10 and under, 12 and under, where the parents obviously still would have control up to 18. Anybody in the room handle that? Yes. Okay. So Erin, what is it that you do, if you want to share? I don't know if it's on the senior or the younger side of things, but there's a reason I'm asking that question. So if you want to put in there. So if you do, right. So if you have these are the two kind of markets where you potentially have two audiences, right? So on the senior side of things, right, the senior, the 65 plus, 60 plus might be the end user of your product or service, and they may be the person to reach directly. But then also their kids, if they have kids making them decisions for them, they might, okay, we help families okay, so on the other side, families whose adolescents are dealing with eating disorders. So in that case, right, you could be dealing on the senior side still. You could be dealing with the senior, could be dealing with their kids or their grandkids. So those are different places that you're going to market to them, and different ways you're going to market to them. And then on the kids side, right, so we have the parents taking care of kids potentially with eating disorders. You're going to market to the parents, right, not the kids. You might have a product tutoring, but if you have a product like a video game or a slime or something the kids would buy, like hey, mom and dad, will you buy this for me? That marketing would be different. Or might not be marketed to the parents for a product the kid wants. So does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So you have to kind of be aware that you could have a secondary market, which would be like, if you want to market to my 84-year-old dad, put an ad in the LA Times. You can find me on the digital version of the LA Times, or you find me on social media as one of his kids. My mother is kind of not really on social media anymore, but he reads email. He does email as well. And email, that older market, they do more than social media. So I just wanted to make sure that was cool. Correct, right? Not cool. Let's see, Gen X, baby boomers, and some millennials, health and wellness. Yeah, so you're, potentially hitting it for that, for themselves, and then for the senior market. But I was specifically looking for that, like 65 plus is the primary market. So what can brands do on social media to prompt people to purchase, if that's your goal? All right, so being responsive, just like you walk into a store, you want them to acknowledge you, help you, or hopefully ring up your purchase at some point. Offering promotions, we all love a deal, right? Educational content, if that helps you get to that purchase, make sure they understand what you do, what the product or service does. Interesting visuals, of course, we like that as well. Being funny, and be careful with that, but we like humor. I don't want to be mean to me. Exclusive content, behind the scenes, if that makes sense for your business. Mine would be pretty boring, sitting here typing away at my desk all day. teaching, not very interesting behind the scenes, but some of you might have that. The last one here, I would say avoid altogether. The trash talking really kind of only works years ago. I don't know if they do it any longer, but Burger King and Wendy's, I think, had the Twitter wars where they would go back and forth and kind of be snarky and, funny. Everybody knew it was like for humor. They weren't damaging each other's brands, but just kind of, like, hey, my burger is better than your burger and whatever. But it would come off different for us. I wouldn't trash talk any of my competitors. I don't recommend it. It could come off, being snarky. You could be funny, but being, I don't know, mean spirited. You have to be careful about politics these days. We're a very polarized country. So whatever your opinion is, or whatever side you're on, I don't care if you're red, blue, purple, yellow, whatever. You have to be careful if you're okay potentially offending the other side, and it relates to your business or it hurts your business in some way. If that's okay with you, if you only want to appeal to one side, cool. But if not, we just have to be very careful because we are very polarized in this country right now. We don't want it has shut businesses down if they've had an opinion one way or the other, in politics. So another thing to watch out for, not to prompt a purchase. So Facebook, the big one, I don't know, king or queen of the social media, right? So a little bit more women, so maybe it's a queen, we'll call it, of social media. So a little slightly higher than the men. We have 3.03 billion monthly active users. Might have gone up just a little bit since 2023, but still, I remember when it was just in the 1 billion range. Right, we're spending about 30 minutes a day on here, and I'll show you how many people in the United States. 71% of internet users in the US use Facebook regularly. So we're still using Facebook. A lot of people thought it was dead, right? And now this is the age groups and, male, female that are hanging out in this area on Facebook. So again, Zillennials, millennials, kind of those top groups. You see it starting to upper millennials, 35 to 44. And then it starts to drop off from there, about, 17% down to 5 or 6% in the 45 plus. But compared to other platforms, you'll find more of the 45 plus on Facebook. You'll see in comparison to the other platforms I'll show you, they're there, but they're more here. They're more on Facebook in those categories than any other group. Or any other platform. So the 45 plus, if that is your target, 40, generally 45 to 55, you see it starts to drop off, above 55, as well, but they're more here than any other platform. So this is where you want to hang out for that older market. And you'll see across the board, most of them are going to be in that mid-millennial market, right? Zillennial, millennial. United States, we have about 250 million almost as of this year. And sorry about my cough. I was getting over a cold last week and it's still got a little residual. Here we go. So about 250 million. See, it's going to climb a little bit incrementally over the next few years here. So not planning on dying anytime soon, unless something dramatic happens. I don't think so. So how often should you post? Right. So I would say the bare minimum for me is about 4 times a week. If you're starting out like, okay, I do it once a month or when I remember, maybe once a week, work your way up. Don't sweat it. I'm going to show you my content calendar, show you all the different content potential and ideas to fill your calendar up, right? I'm going to show you content journey mapping. So work your way up to that. The more you're out there, the more people have a chance to engage with you. The more reach you get, the more chance they're going to see your content. Now, Facebook is unique in that, let's say unique, what's such a good word for that, but their organic reach is about 2%. So anytime you post, only about 2% of your followers or likers are going to see your content. Couple reasons for that, right? After 21 years in business, we started out as friends only, right? We just had our friends and we see each other's content. I had a sandwich today. Where'd I go for my summer vacation? And that was it. And then as we added more friends, they added groups, they added pages, right? So now, and then advertising. So now if I have 1,000 friends, I like 50 pages and I'm in 25 groups and everybody's posting all day, every day, my content feed would be out of control, right? It'd be a never ending flow, just everybody else too, and the advertising. So Facebook has to come back and say, wait a second, we can't show everything to Patty, but what's most relevant? What could we, if we throttle back the content, how should we do this? And the only way Facebook can decide for me is what I engage with, what I'm most engaged with. So if I'm most engaged with my friend Joe's cat videos because I like them and comment and sharing them, I'm going to keep seeing Joe's content, whatever it is. If I don't engage with it, I'm going to drop off. So that's why you want to be careful with the algorithm dropping off, posting too quick a succession, or disappearing for weeks. I use this in this morning's class. Anybody here Star Trek fans, like going way back, Star Trek, Klingons? Everybody know Klingons? And they have a special feature of their warship, the Warbirds. Somebody went and dug this morning. It turns out maybe both Romulans and Klingons had this technology. But what can they do? If somebody's a Star Trek fan, what could their Warbird ship do? It was a cool feature. Something that you don't want to do. Cloak, thank you, right? It had the cloaking, so if they didn't want their enemies to see them as they're flying around the universe, they could cloak, they could go invisible, and then they can decloak when they wanted to appear suddenly in front of somebody, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to be a Romulan or a Klingon. I still have to go research that. I'm for sure Klingons could do that. But we don't want to disappear. We don't want to cloak ourselves and then come back again, right? We want to be visible as much as we possibly can so people can interact with your content, right? Hopefully not shoot your ship down, but interact with your content, okay? So very important, get as regular as you possibly can with posting, okay? And then when to post, this is kind of a heat map. They know when the most engagement, meaning most people are liking, sharing, commenting, interacting with your content. Right here is the heat map, middle of the day, middle of the week. Those Tuesdays, Wednesdays, midday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. But your audience might be up a little bit later. You can test out, should I try maybe 4 to 6 or 9 to 10? But generally, Facebook, Instagram, they all know their algorithms of when people are clicking on stuff, right? When they're most decloaked and people are paying attention to them, right? I got to get those slides on here with the Warbird so people know what I'm talking about. What are the average engagement rate by post type? So reels, videos, so those are both video content, right? Most popular. Photos, links, the status when you say, hey, I'm at breakfast and doing whatever, right? Are the least popular, but the engagement's not too far off on that. So people really love video content. I'm going to show you that with my client who has that viral video that went out this week. It's an actual video, and so it's very interesting what happened. I'm showing in a minute. So Instagram, even though this is number 3 on here, I should have put YouTube next, but we'll stay in the Meta family here. So who's hanging out? 2 billion compared to 3 billion users on Facebook. Right. So I think I don't have the ages will be on the next slide. Right. We're spending about the same amount of time on here. India has the most users actually of any of them. Right. So I'll let you, I'm not going to read all of those. So here by age and gender. So male, female split, here about equal. Again, you can see the millennials, right. Those 18 to 34 groups, biggest groups out there. Starts to drop down quite dramatically. See the 55 plus 4% of Instagram compared to 30%. So again, if you're 35 and below market, primarily Instagram would be more important than if you have an older audience. Not saying if you have 45 plus not to bother, but just think Facebook would be where you'd spend more time for that age group, but not saying, hey, if you have a post, go ahead and post them on all of them. But don't only post on Instagram if you're a 45 plus market. So you can see who's hanging out there primarily. And then there's different types of content, right? A lot of things to try with Facebook. You have your regular static posts. You have your carousels, right? So that's, years ago before carousels came out, if you had 10 party photos, you'd have to do 10 Instagram posts. So now you can just gather them all up in one post and they can swipe through. Instagram stories came around first. Those are the 24-hour content, but you can save it to highlights. So meant to be short-term fun content. You can do, depending on how many followers you have, swipe ups. You can do tags and different fun things on the stories. Reels came along 2020 after TikTok, right? As a competitor to TikTok. You want to make sure, because TikTok or Instagram, if you have branded TikTok content on Reels, they may not show it the same if it's their content. So I would say do generic video content and post them up across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, if you're doing all of them, without it being branded with the TikTok at the end. You can, or maybe cut it out, edit that out as well. They prefer, obviously it's a competitor, so you're putting a competitor product on their product. Probably wouldn't, I wouldn't want one of my, a marketing company to put their branding on my stuff, right? But it might not, I might disappear it, right? So it makes sense that they would do that. And then lives. Anybody do Facebook or Instagram lives or have done them in the past? Just raise your hand or say a yes in chat. And if you share what kind of content you did. So what did you, if you want to share, it's up to you. Jean said yes. No, but this is what I want to learn. Someone said that this morning. So if you, food blog, okay, cool. So a lot of different uses as you see here, right? You can do Q&A sessions and product explainers, behind the scenes. Again, if you have something interesting to video on behind the scenes, offer a tip or a hack, right? A summary of a project, a product launch, right? Interview somebody, right? A lot of different uses of lives. Day in the life, you can do that as well. It could just be a reel. Some of these could just be reels. They just do a quick day in the life. But if you want to do it as a live, right? But do it right. Plan for it. Some of you, it might not be natural for us, a lot of us, to do this. We feel like a little bit more pressure. Like I'm live on a Zoom right now, but I don't feel for some reason the same pressure that I would going like, okay, go, lights, camera, action, hit that record, that button and go live, right? I had clients who are like freak out. They're like, fine and everywhere else, but we tell them to go live. They're like, I don't think so. But if you're a little nervous about it, test yourself out. Just use your video camera, just hit record and pretend you're live and just try it out. Do like a Q&A session, have a friend to help you with it, whatever it is. Test out if you're doing it outside. A light breeze can sound like a gale force wind. So check your lighting sound. I don't say script it out, but maybe outline it so you're kind of prepared, so you're not kind of stumbling and stuttering as you go along. It's okay if they're a little raw, but you do want to make sure they do look good. This is what's representing your business as well. So live at conferences and vendor areas, good idea. So like I said, I was talking to somebody about this, he was one of my clients. We're talking about just creating social media in general, right? If you think back 20 plus years, this wasn't something we naturally, a lot of us grew up with. Kids right now, they're growing up with it, and they're, like my friend, you're like, yes, let's, do a boomerang of you eating pasta before you eat. It's not a natural thing. We're not actors and actresses for the most part. So us to go, hey, let's go on camera. So you think it's kind of a newer thing for especially some of us that might be older to go live and to do social media and to create Instagram reels and video content, right? Just something we didn't have the tools for it years ago. We had our little flash cameras and our, disposable cameras and the old video Super 8 my parents had. It wasn't something that was natural for us to do. So don't worry if it's not. So yeah, check out boomerangs. I'm going to explain it. So it's when you're, shooting a quick picture and it kind of like you going back and forth, like you're showing, like maybe you're toasting and people put their glasses together in a toast and it kind of boomerangs back and forth. That's what a boomerang is. Somebody maybe can show them one, but that's how you use it. So there's a lot of different things that are just not natural for us to do. We don't think about it normal day. So don't worry if that's not you. Maybe find somebody who likes doing that content. If they want to do lives, maybe do it as a Zoom instead of a live. Maybe there's less pressure doing it that way, perhaps, but to do what's comfortable for you. You don't want it to feel forced or unnatural, for sure. So Instagram, when to post. kind of the same. It's like middle of the day and middle of the week. Actually, I have the same heat map thing from Sprout Social. So again, that same Tuesdays, Wednesdays, middle of the day are their most engaged times here. And the same on posting. Again, don't be a Klingon or a Romulan, whichever one has the cloaking device, right? We want to be out there as much as possible, right? Average Instagram business account posts once a day, but we want good quality content, right? We want to make sure we have a good, we'll talk about different types of content and building content pillars and all that, so that you have stuff to talk about on a regular basis out there. But again, the more you're out there, the more chance people have to interact with you and learn about you. Otherwise, you're a cloaked ship, right? And then the algorithm, someone asked, going back to, it depends on the location. So base it on your local time zone, right? So if you're in, or like, say, if you're on the West Coast and, like everybody who follows me is all on the East Coast, or they're all in Brazil or something, that's a different time zone. But generally go off of what your local time zone is, if you think that's where the majority of your followers potentially could be. Or maybe you're in a different country and you're trying to reach more like United States, then, and you're 10 hours behind, then change it to that. But generally good to work on your local time zone. Let's see. Someone saying they're English as a second language, but using Swahili as a language of instruction. I want to learn about monetization. Okay, well, I'll learn a little bit. I'm not going to talk too much about monetization of social media. There's a lot of different ways, a lot of things that could mean potentially. We all like to make money. How do you figure out where your followers are? I would say basically go off of your local time zone, because you can't really tell unless you're looking up each one. On Facebook under Insights, it will tell you geographically where they're located. So they could be local. They could be, like say they're in the United States, or in California, they're in Los Angeles, they're in, all over the place. Some of them you can get more analytics deeper, but just go off of, where you're located for the timing on that. So, and on the LinkedIn algorithm, right? So we used to, years ago, right? Facebook, Instagram started, everything was chronological, right? We'd post stuff up, everything would just show up. Our friends would see our posts in order of appearance, and, then you'd put new content out and it would show up. Things have changed. Right, explain the Facebook kind of, algorithm of deciding what to show or not to show. Instagram has their own quirkiness going on. They've been playing around with it over the past couple of years. There used to be pure chronological views. They don't have groups and pages, like Facebook does. They just have a lot more followers. So they've been changing it up based on, how much Instagram thinks that people will what they'll like on what they engage with on a regular basis. How recent the post is, the counts a person engages with on a regular basis, how often they use the Instagram app, right? A lot of different things that can happen. So it's not linear anymore. It's not chronological. You can change it back to a chronological view. Most people don't realize, or now automatically will just now be this algorithm of what they're going to show for you. So it might show up for you right away and you'll see, okay, I just posted this on Instagram. There it is. But who sees it, how they see it will be different for everybody, right? So I'm going to show you, unfortunately, I can't show the video. I couldn't figure that out without stopping and going live, but it's one of my clients. It's a coaching client of mine. He does sound healing. He's in Pittsburgh. He does, sound baths, sound healing, obviously with gongs as well. And I've been working with him for a month or so now. And he, wasn't really regular. You could see he now has 448 followers. A couple of days ago, he had 100. So very small. And he was posting, but, he hired me as a coach to convince him to hey, you need to start posting more. He's focusing more on B2B. So he's looking to do sound healing things for employers or employees to bring them in. So he's doing kind of group stuff. He does some private, consumer-based stuff too. So he put up this video a few days ago. And I wish I could play it because it's really cool. So he starts off with how the movies had me thinking this gong is played. It's that bong, right? When you hear at the, Kung Fu movies and bong. So it probably woke a lot of people up, if they have their sound automatically turned on. And then he finishes with the much more chill, you're just tapping on it and making a nice resonance for, relaxation compared to the big bong. And so I took this snapshot last night and he was at 69,434 likes. He's now over the 70,000 marks, 1.5 or 6 million views. Their comments were, I think, getting close to 400, and he gained about 300 something followers. So not all 70,000 people who liked it are following him. So when we had a coaching session, he said, guess what happened? Look what, in his previous videos and content, he would get 20 likes, 15 likes, a couple here and there. So nothing he did other than bong. Right now I'm going to go buy a gong. Right? So I said, what you should do now is, we're trying to say, okay, what can we do to potentially replicate this in some way? What was it? Was it the sound? And a lot of people are commenting about, kung fu movies and how to, do the bong and I think you have to prime the gong as well, and different things. It's been interesting to watch this process go on. And it's until you never know. He didn't do anything. Obviously, he doesn't have 70,000 followers, but as this started growing viral and get discovered, more people are seeing it and responding to it, liking it. And it's just a simple video, nothing that he necessarily planned out. A very simple, just let's get the camera going. And I'm going to do I don't know how long it is, less than 30 seconds that he's doing this video. So you never know what's going to happen. And we're trying hey, why don't you, do a couple more videos where you start off with the gong and like now that I've gotten your attention, right now he'll do the sound. He's going to start doing live sound baths, like 5 minute, few minute break sound baths during the day, more on LinkedIn. So, kind of the moral of the story is great. This is great to get the 70,000, but is it going to help him in any way? Right? You think, okay, well, future videos go viral. Will it help his business? In this case, maybe not. Somebody might come to workplace wellness, hey, I want to do that. They have to, he can do them live in Pittsburgh, or he can do virtual as well. He actually, remember I told you guys to share and network in the room. So Corey has followed me around in some of my classes, and I, talked to him, and he said he actually sharing his information. He got a couple leads from the room, from these classes. So that's why you should network. Probably more valuable than the 70,000 likes. So it's a cool story, right? To get the 70,000, but is it going to translate into anything but the cool story, right? Is it going to get him any business? Maybe. Like I said, this is still growing. Hopefully we'll get to him the 100,000 so he can say he got the 100,000 plus. But interesting enough, all it took was a gong, right? Let's all do gongs. So this is another example. This could be potentially different. So the one on the right is a client of mine as well, Wuggle, and it's a cap that you put on your head. It's a little bit, I wouldn't say tight, but it's a little compresses a little bit, because the purpose of it is that the idea is like swaddling, like you swaddle a baby, give somebody a hug, and it feels like calms you down. So the idea is for insomnia, for teens, for traveling, a lot of different uses. They developed this product to wear, and they just contacted me this week. Somebody else had a viral video. This gal on the left, TikTok video, 2.4 million likes on it, that she wraps a sweatshirt around her head for the same purpose, right? She goes, this really calms me down, but you could see how ridiculous this looks on the left. I screenshotted it just as she had the final wrapping around. She has the sleeves wrapped around her neck. I'm like, God, what if you strangulated yourself in the middle of the night? Wouldn't the Wuggle be better? So we're like, what can we do to capitalize on this? I said, did you reach out to her and say, hey, I have a better idea than a sweatshirt wrapped around your head? And people were like, hey, I'm going to try that. Obviously, 2.4 million people. She had 10,000 comments, 24,000 shares, right? So a lot of people saw this and maybe are wrapping sweatshirts around their head. And I use the Wuggle. They sent me a Wuggle. I'm using it, and it actually does help you sleep if you have insomnia. But a much better. So we're like, can we do a stitch, where we show like, well, here's this kind of weird option, but hey, this is a better option. So we're kind of working on the legal aspect of it, or is there some way we can last? So this could potentially, compared to Corey, like I said, cool story, could turn into business where, hey, this is something that went viral that has a not so good option where ours is better, right? So figuring out how can we capitalize on that and use that in some way. Maybe there's some advertising. So does just this happen too? So we're trying to figure figure out what that is as well. So you never know. Pay attention to what's going on there. Yeah, what an increase. Yes, migraines, definitely check out the Wuggle, and her story behind her husband, one of the sisters, her husband, like my mom, has Alzheimer's and dementia. And part of they also do cause marketing. So some of the profits they donate they actually to a caregiver scholarship to help caregivers of people with dementia or Alzheimer's. So very good cause. So Twitter or X, now called X, I call it Zwitter, right? Anybody still on X posting on there, hanging out, doing anything? Raise your hand. Yes, in chat. It's still out there. 666 million users with the new owner, sometimes, right? More B2B, definitely more male than female, as you can see here, almost double male to female. I'll show you the age ranges as well. You'd probably guess what that is. No. That's strong. No. That was different feelings about the owner, right? But yeah, so we're still hanging out there. It's definitely a lot smaller. I use it primarily as my news source. I'm a little less enchanted with it these days since the new owner took it over. It's gotten a little weirder, but because I have a journalist background, I want to know what's going on, and I know things will happen there quicker. I follow all the politicians and journalists and all. I want to keep up what's going on. That's just me. So I tend to use X for that more than anything else. By age group, imagine that. Yes, the millennials are the highest group, a little bit, doesn't drop off too badly on the lower groups or the younger groups, but generally right in the middle. I would say that's about accurate with people that I know on Twitter, right? And generally during the week is your better time during the middle of the day, but they generally post all day, every day. Weekends, not as much now. COVID, they were definitely posting on the weekends because we didn't have anything else to do as we're locked up. But generally during the week is your best times for posting on Twitter. And there's a lot of content there, obviously, too, to post. And this is where I say, don't connect your platforms, right? So this was an example. This was years ago, but I had a winery client I was starting to work with, and I noticed their Twitter page, because I always go and check out, like, what's going on? What have you been doing? A lot of people abandon their Twitter pages. Like, I forgot all about it, but they're still out there. And if somebody's looking for you on Twitter and you haven't posted since 2017, are you still around doing things? But the one thing with this winery was that they connected their Instagram to Twitter, and then it wasn't a good user experience on Twitter, right? Because then you have to click on the link and then to see anything. And if I'm on Twitter, I don't want to go outside of the platform to click on anything. And also too, you don't want to have this, I talked to and said, I don't really pay attention to Facebook. It connects over just eventually. I don't even know it goes over there. It'll show up there at Facebook. So I go and look, but the problem with it is, like, if on Instagram, you can't have a live link in your caption, right? You have to put C link in bio, and then you have a link in your bio, because your www.whatever.com will not turn into a live link like it does for Facebook, Twitter, everything else but LinkedIn, etc. So then it will just automatically slap over on Facebook. Now said see link in bio in the comments or in the caption. There's no link in bio on Facebook. You could have put a live link there. So if you're just going to connect them, and if you have Instagram specific hashtags that you're using, like foodies of Instagram or pugs of Instagram, Insta food, whatever, they're also going to go over to your other platforms that you're connected to. So use a scheduling tool. If you're just using Facebook and Instagram, use Meta. It will allow you to multi-schedule both your Facebook and Instagram and let you tweak it per platform. I use a scheduling tool called Metricool. I'll show you that a couple slides down. And any of the scheduling tools out there will let you multi-schedule, but tweak per platform. So then I can put the C link in bio on Instagram, put the live link on Facebook, remove my specific Instagram hashtags, shorten Twitter down to the 280 characters, whatever tweaks you need to do so that each platform gets the love, right? And gets the correct content for its platform. So yes, you can. I just don't think you should, right? Do the connecting. Years ago, maybe could have done that. Snapchat, right? The baby of the family, the kids are definitely hanging out here, as you see the age groups here. from 13 years old, definitely 50 plus, not hanging out there. Right. A little bit on the 35 to 49. Maybe it's the parents spying on the kids. But definitely not the place to hang out if the older. But if you have products, the one, this is where directly the products for kids, the slime, the video games, the whatever you're trying to sell them, the kids would be like, "Oh, what is that?" Tell mom and dad to buy it, as opposed to like the tutoring or the counseling or things like that, where it would go to the parents to do that. But they are hanging out on Snapchat still. Best times to post 10 to 1 a.m. Interestingly enough. Aren't these kids in bed going to school? But generally on all day, any day of the week, you know. And then Pinterest. Anybody here use Pinterest still? Raise your hand. Yes, in chat. Anybody on Pinterest these days? Has to be a few of you. Okay, so it's still around, right? Still 400 trying. Hey, as long as you're always trying. 482 million users. So you see how we dropped down quite a bit on there. More women than men, 80%. Used to be almost primarily women, right? Marketers came along, started monetizing it, of course, as well. What's interesting, number one category is home design, right? So I'll show you the top 10 in a minute, but if you're on that home decor, home design category, this would be a great place to hang out and post here, pin, right? So 70%, 77% of pinners say they discovered new brands or product on Pinterest, but in the discovery phase, they're doing search queries unbranded. They're not putting brand names in here. I'm just looking for perfume. I'm looking for, say if they put shoes or tattoos, are popular. My client that knew that he has a tattoo shop, and people create tattoo boards, inspiration. So he would pin his tattoos on here. So if people are looking for, he has a specific Japanese style tattoos, people are looking for them, and they pin them. And if they happen to be in the Los Angeles area, and come get the tattoos from him. So he kind of took advantage of that, knowing that people do, probably because people like maybe show them, hey, let me show you my pin board of ideas, for tattoos. I even had a pin board. I didn't show him that, but I had a pin board of tattoo ideas as well. So, wouldn't have necessarily, it's not one of the top categories, but as he learned that people were doing this, he's like, well, let me pin my tattoos on here, and all of his artists as well. So the top categories, home design, of course, women's fashion, health and fitness, weddings, food, travel, all the usual. So how do you use these if you're not in particular in these categories? So I worked for a credit union. I was in their headquarters. I was their email marketing manager, but being the only female in the marketing department at the time, like, I'll let Patty take care of Pinterest, right? Revive it. Somebody else was running it before. So I'm like, okay, what do I post up? Right. We're money. But of course, as we're trying to save our members money, and get them to do services and products with us, their home mortgages and credit cards and all that, right? I could tie all of these in, pretty much all of them into something to do with the credit union, right? Save money on home decor, home hacks, right? Save money on fashion. Weddings was our number one pinning category. How to save money, have a budget reception, how to save money on your dress, how to save money on travel, food and dress. All you could tie in money to most of these categories, right? Maybe humor. I think we had some quotes about money, being frugal and saving money and all that stuff. But all of them tie in. So they might not be wineries, obviously food and drink, travel, hey, come travel to our wine country. We're just talking about that. Weddings and parties, if they host those kind of things, you can do humorous wine quotes on there. So you can tie in different categories on here. Let's see, what does it say? I had a former intern who was a Pinterest wizard, and we gained a lot of followers. Yeah. I just went through the process of helping a client of mine get on the Pinterest shopping. She does her own homemade, natural perfumes. Took a little work. They're very particular about what was on her website, making sure she had privacy statements and she was a legitimate site and all that. So it did take a little effort to do shopping directly on it, but she finally did get that, got it working. So. And then generally when you post or pin, no more at night, not during work hours during the week, best days during the weekends when people have time to pin and look at it and all that, right? So evenings and weekends, better for Pinterest. So TikTok. Everybody talks about TikTok these days, right? The latest and greatest viral trending videos. So 1.2 billion. So it's definitely a lot less than the other two, but they're newer, on the marketplace than the old the grandma and grandpa, Instagram, Facebook, etc. So spending 95 minutes on average, 140 feet for blah, 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 143 million in the United States, followed by Indonesia, 106 million. It's interesting. Equalish men and women, 50-50 almost there. Okay. And so who's hanging out here? So you can see here again, 18 to 34, these first two groups. And you can see how it drops off in comparison to that 45 and above, 8%, 6%, even 60. The 35 to 44 recently dropped. It used to be almost closer to the other two groups. This past year dropped down dramatically. They're finding that it's getting younger and younger, not as older and older. So if you're in this market in comparison to the other groups, they're not there as much. You're still there a little bit. But, depending on your audience, this might not be the place to go if it's an older audience. If you're doing video content across the Reels, the TikToks, the Shorts, do them all. Try them out and see if any get better engagement and reach. It doesn't cost you any more but a few minutes of time to schedule, right? If you do the exact same content, just repeat it on your other platforms to see. If you're spending money, if you're doing advertising, where you might try organic first and then see before you spend any money, because if you're trying to get lift in the 45 plus on TikTok and spend money, I had a client that did that. She was spending money on Facebook ads, but because she didn't have her target audience narrowed down. If anybody's attended my email marketing class, I'm talking about the collagen lady. I know the story, the collagen products. And she was determining that all women 20 to 100, right? Figuring anybody could use it. But when I narrowed her down to the 45 plus, because her product really targeted women who are in the older age categories, then Facebook made more sense. That's why she was more successful there. She said, I need to do TikTok advertising because everybody's saying I need to do TikTok. She did. Guess what? It flopped. Compared, she stopped doing Facebook. I'm like, go back to Facebook. Get over there, Jen. Stop the TikTok nonsense. It wasn't her audience, and she was spending money, and it did nothing. Same videos, all that, but it just was not her target audience. So, again, knowing where your people hang out and who your people are. So, a couple stats here. I'm just going to read a couple. 55% of users say TikTok helps them discover new things. So they are looking there for new things. 2 out of 3 are likely to buy something while on the platform. So they're shopping. When users see a brand on TikTok organically, their content, paid ads, or before paid ads, they're likely 27% increase in brand recognition, right? So very, very good stats to have on there if this is your audience, right? So just looking at questions here before I go on to YouTube. Which age platform would be most interested in environmental healing and or healing of humans? I mean, that's I'd have to know more. We have to talk about that more because it could be, the younger audiences, not saying older folks are not interested in environmental healing. It just depends on what exactly you're talking about. And if it's across the board, you might talk to them differently. Somebody who's older might have a different attitude about it than somebody who's younger, just, in general, whatever the product or service is. So across the board, I would have to dig. I call this, when I talk to clients and people about buyer personas and figuring out your target audience, I call it wrestling the alligator for a reason. Because I feel like sometimes I'm literally on top of the alligator, wrestling it down. Because I know some of you are like, I don't want to narrow my audience. What if I give up and I'm going to miss out? And right, like Jen, who was like, I can help women 20 and above and everybody. But then when we really focused it, I'm like, she wasn't focusing on anybody. So if you're trying to focus on everybody, you might be focusing on nobody. So you're not really losing an audience. Not saying that people who are 25 couldn't still buy her product if they saw it and felt that it suited them. But when you really focus the messaging down, go find them in the right places, you're going to, expand that audience because now you're talking to them the right way in the right places, right? Right place, right time. all of that. So, yeah, so wrestling the alligator. And I call it therapy sessions too, get on the couch as we wrestle the alligator together, and we'll narrow your focus down. Let's see, I don't know if this question fits this class. Is there a website I can find? What terms potential real estate sellers, buyers are Googling that could help me create a good website URL for? So that would be my colleague, Brandon. We teach a class together called Paid Owned Earned Media, and he handles SEO. So there is competitive, you can do competitive keyword searches, Google tools as well. You can do keyword search, keyword planner, I think it's called, but he handles that side of it. So there is ways to look that up and see what search terms are being used, what are popular search terms in your category. So if you know, like, oh, people are searching new home purchasing or new homes in my area, kind of thing, or homes available in my area, or, checking accounts for a bank or something, you can look up and go, yeah, there's millions of searches per month, or only like 10,000 a month. So there is a way to do that. Definitely, that would be more Brandon's. He's also a SCORE presenter, and again, we teach that class together. I think this chapter is hosting it at some point as well. Evolving humanity beyond war and duality, bringing unity. Yep. Okay, perfect. Got that. Where are we here? Okay, whoops, getting repeat questions. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks I'll clear those off. Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about YouTube. 2.5 billion users as of late last year. So it's gone up a little bit. It's starting to get some more traction, a little bit closer to Facebook there. 31% of total global population uses YouTube. We use it a lot these days. Entertainment. My boyfriend does, like, he goes on YouTube, puts the YouTube channel on the TV, he's watching videos. I'm just like, if it comes up, like, how do I do this? Or I want to see how that works, and a YouTube video comes up, I'm probably more informational use of YouTube than an entertainment use of it. But we use it for, like, how to change our oil in our car, and how to, Dr. Google and Dr. YouTube, right? So we do use it for quite a few things these days, right? So when do you and there's the difference between long form YouTube videos and now YouTube Shorts. So this would apply to the longer form videos. The old-fashioned YouTube videos, you can call them. Generally, best days to post Thursday, Friday, because most views are Saturday, Sunday. People are at home and looking how to change my oil, and entertainment stuff as well tends to be, during the weekends. And then there's also YouTube Shorts. So that's, if you're not familiar with, it's fairly new, just launched a couple of years ago in comparison to the other platforms. And, TikTok's only a few years older than that, right? So best time to post, different times during the week and during the day. So you can try that out in YouTube Shorts to go over that. If you're not familiar with Shorts, because it is new, it launched in 2021, soft launch, right? So it was starting to grow a little bit in 2020, but you here, one YouTube user is worth 25 TikTok followers. And the reason is there's just less people on them. So you potentially get more views. This is a good time to use it because organically you could get more traction, more impressions and reach with it. If you do it less than 60 seconds, right? Or 60 and less on here. It's a little bit shorter than you would. It says the average 72% YouTube Shorts durations between 16 and 60 seconds. So if you're going to do less than 60-second videos on TikTok or Reels, just put them on Shorts as well. Because you can see it's a #2 platform. So if there's people are discovering YouTube Shorts, here are the popular content across the board, probably the same for TikTok and Reels. How-tos, educational, motivational, funny, entertaining, right? Creative short films, behind the scenes, right? So use those, right? And then who here is B2B? Anybody in the room B2B, business to business, mostly? Raise your hand, say yes in chat. So I know we have B2Bs in the room. Go back and scroll back and see if you shared that. So we have any business to business here? Couple? I want to scroll all the way back. Yes, a few. Okay, so we have a few. So Leanne, are you Leanne from Nabo? Is that the same Leanne? Or is it a coincidence? Yes, yeah. Hi, how you doing? One of my Nabo sisters. So I know what she does, promotional products. Some of mine, I share that. So yeah, so there are some B2B. So LinkedIn is your gold, right? Maybe Instagram and Facebook a little bit, but this is where you can go specifically to find niche audiences that you might be doing business with. Okay, so this is where you want to hang out. 80% of B2B leads are generated through LinkedIn. Means 4 out of 5 of any lead come from LinkedIn compared to other social media platforms. Right, so this is where your goal is to get those leads. And there's different things you need to do on LinkedIn, right? So there's not just like going and connecting or putting up a post once in a while. So you can see here, LinkedIn delivers the best value for B2B marketers. Definitely LinkedIn compared to the other platforms here, not so much on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, right? So generally a little bit more male than female, not too far off. 1 billion users across 200 countries. We have about 211 million in the United States. For jobs, right? 95 job applications are submitted on LinkedIn every second. That's a lot of jobs. Hopefully a lot of people are finding those jobs. So you're either going to come here looking for work, or you're going to be promoting your business, right? And looking to network for your business as well. So obviously different uses we have for it. Maybe you're looking to hire people as well. So age-wise, you can see here that again, that sweet spot is a 25 to 34, but in comparison to the other platforms, it's a little bit different here, right? So I'll give you an example, right? You see the 55 plus drops off, because you're not looking for jobs necessarily as much, and maybe you're retiring out of the market. But this doesn't matter as much. I'll give you the example. So one of my other Navo sisters, a client of mine, she owns a transportation logistics business. She's been in operation 10 years. She a multi-million-dollar company, 70 plus employees. She's here in Los Angeles. Okay. Now, knowing that information, and you wanted to do business with a CEO of a multi-million-dollar transportation logistics business, she has 70 employees. Maybe you do employee benefits or employee wellness programs, or you just want to do something with transportation. Do you care how old she is? Does it matter? Anybody want to say, yes, it does matter? No. She just turned 35. She started this company in her 20s, right? 10 years ago, 11 years ago now. So does it matter if she was 25, 35, 55, 105 as a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company with that many employees if you wanted to reach her for her business? Right? Doesn't it? Right? So age doesn't necessarily matter. She have less experience than the 55-year-old CEO. I think she's doing pretty well for herself, right? Especially in a traditional male-run dominated industry. I call her the unicorn, right? Leanne's familiar with this, like WeBank, right? She's a unicorn in WeBank. So again, doesn't matter as much in age. I just wanted to show you her, the why it doesn't necessarily matter. You're looking for position, looking for the people who are the decision drivers, like her. 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn are the decision drivers. So if you want to reach her for something to do with a T&L company, or get to her employees or benefits or sell her promotional products, anything like that, doesn't matter the age range, right? She is a decision maker. LinkedIn has 65 million decision makers as of last year. So there's quite a few of them on there. Just read a few of these stats. According to 70% of us content marketers, it definitely delivers the highest organic results for B2B, right? Talking specifically for B2B. LinkedIn posts with 1,900 to 2,000 words have the best performance and engagement rate. So long form content is king on LinkedIn. And that's because we come here, like I said, for industry insights. We're coming here for information, to learn, to grow, to collaborate, right? Not just to be like, oh, cute dog video, haha, right? That's the other platforms, right? So this is where long form rules. Businesses that post weekly on LinkedIn see 2 times growth in engagement. You can reach 15% of the world's population to advertise to them on LinkedIn if you want. That would be quite the ad spend. As a result of LinkedIn ad exposure, businesses purchases intent increased by 33%. So again, a hyper targeting definitely always works. I'll let the other stats, read them on your leisure when you get the recording slides, right? So this is where you want to go. And there's a lot of different things you need to do to participate on LinkedIn. It's not just posting. It's not just going and connecting with people. Treat LinkedIn as you would, and this is how LinkedIn looks at it, as you would in-person networking, getting out there to groups and organizations that you're a part of, meeting people strategically, right? You got to be strategic in person and on digital, but they want you to connect with each other. build those relationships, follow each other's pages, pay attention to what's going on, post content that would be useful to your industry or your people you're trying to reach and do business with. Engage, right? Be reciprocal, like, comment, post. They want to know that you're building relationships. Create a newsletter. I'm going to talk about that very important feature. And it's not the newsletter you think about when you send an email. Really think of it as a blog. Okay, just call it a newsletter. Participate in groups. A lot of activity happens in groups. So whether within your industry, maybe people referring business to you, or people you want to reach and groups that they're hanging out with. You want to be careful not to go in there and like, hey, look what I do, but you do want to participate. See, maybe they're talking about pain points that you can help solve. In other words, network, right? Get out there, meet people, build. B2B is more about building relationships because it's going to take a longer term, right? You're not going to get maybe right to a decision maker, right? Consumer is all about that impulse purchase, getting to those emotions to trigger that purchase quick, generally dealing with the immediate person who's purchasing the item, maybe a family member. There's not a layer of people potentially to deal with. So it's still kind of the old fashioned B2B, making those sales calls, door knocking like real estate people do, going and meeting people at mixers and building those relationships, asking for referrals. So it's the same. It's still work, right? Still, even digitally, it's still work to build the relationship. So why should you network? Of course, find new clients potentially, find new hires, looking for staff, expand your opportunities, collaborations, learn from others, right? That's what networking generally is about. And whether you meet them in person or digitally, right? Network is your net worth, like that. And don't be afraid to network in person or online, and treat them kind of the same. Like I hear this all the time. Oh, people spam me all the time on LinkedIn. I'm tired of the spam, right? They're sending you messages, right? So look at it this way. So say, I'm going to mimic somebody's name other than Leanne, because I already know Leanne. Okay, let's say Anna Bryce. Okay, I don't know who she is. We meet at a mixer. We're in person. We meet, and we don't know each other. We walk across the room, and we're strolling over there, like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. And one of us asks, hey, so what do you do? And so Anna starts explaining what she does, and I'm like, great. And then she's gonna ask me what I do, right? And I listen, and maybe she hands me her card. But as soon as I'm starting to talk and say what I do, Anna puts her hand in my face and says, no, don't spam me, Patty, and walks away. And I'm like, I know, Anna, you wouldn't do that. None of us would. But it's the same thing, right? When we're going digitally networking, right? We invite you to connect, or they invite us. We accept. And then you might get a message, right? Like I'm handing you my card. Now I can go to their profile to see what they do. And there are good, bad ways to send a message. Not that like, hey, Anna, let me tell you all about my marketing services. Hey, give me a call, right? Or like, hey, Anna, I'd love to help you out. Tell me who you help and who's your ideal client. How can I help you? And therefore, hopefully we're reciprocal. She'll say, hey, Patty, how can I help you? Right. So it's a way to start a relationship out, like, let's have a cup of coffee first before we start dating or start getting to the third base or whatever, right? You start ease into the relationship. So again, don't look at it as spamming. Take that out of your vocabulary. It's just a way of networking. It's just different than you would digitally or in person, right? Because we know that's the only way we have it. I can't physically hand Anna my business card on LinkedIn, but I can send her a message. I can say, hey, love connecting with you. Let's have a chat. Love to help you out. Okay. So your LinkedIn presence, this always gets a little bit confusing, right? So just like Facebook, we all start with a profile. It's our name, it's us, it's our world professionally instead of personally, right? What jobs we've had, what company we own, what skills we have, your certifications, your volunteer work, all of your basically your professional resume should be your name, picture of you. You can put your business header like this guy did on the top, but this is you and your name. It's your profile. People connect with people, right? We network with people. I don't network with a company. I network with people at a company, right? So this is your profile. This is you. Then you can create a company page under your profile that's managed by your profile, and you can have multiple company pages. You can only have one profile. Now, technically, yes, you could go create multiple profiles, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't have like, I'm going to create one that's going to be for this, and it'll be confusing when people try to look you up. Another situation that comes up a lot is people that have situations on the down low in business. I'm not talking personal. That's a whole different story. But say, for example, you work for Goldman Sachs, but then on the side, you have a side gig, and it doesn't compete, but maybe you run a computer repair business. But you don't want Goldman Sachs. Maybe they're not cool about you having a side business. And you're like, okay, but how do I say I work for Goldman Sachs and everybody I work with, here's my profile, but then I have this business. How do I hide it? There's no way to do it. You have to kind of pick your world, right? You can't be on the down low. Don't create an alias because people don't want to connect with aliases. So you really have to figure out what world you're going to live in, and what business you're going to promote. And if you have a business on the down low that you can't, I have a couple coaching clients that are college professors, and they can't let them know about their side business. So again, it doesn't compete. It's learning education, but not what they teach. But the college is a little weird about them, having side gigs. So they're kind of like, okay, can we set up an alias? I'm like, no, but no one wants to connect with an alias, because when they meet you or work with you, you're going to go, well, yeah, Jill Jones was just a fake name, but I'm really Laura Roberts. That doesn't work so well. All right. Doesn't set up some good relationships, right? Save that for Tinder. Don't do it in your business life. Right. So that, again, your profile and your company page, two different things. You have connections on one and followers on the other. Okay. And then if you don't understand how connections work on here, your first level connections are the people you're directly connected to. One of you invited each other to connect, you accepted first level. Second level, you're not connected directly, but you have mutual connections. So you can still invite them to connect with you if you want. And then you have third level connections. So those are like, nobody knows anybody. You're not connected to each other. You don't know anybody mutually who's connected to them. So again, somebody you can connect with to make them into first level connections, right? So those are the different levels, right? The LinkedIn algorithm works much differently than the Instagram, Facebook I kind of talked about with how often you're on Instagram and what you like or don't like. There's human intervention into the LinkedIn algorithm. Because first off, they want to keep LinkedIn as pure to the purpose as possible, meaning it's business related. If you start putting up like, look at the box of donuts I ate for breakfast and how cute my dog was this morning and where we went on summer vacation, keep that on the other platforms, unless it has something to do with your business, right? And then even then it could be questionable, right? So they're going to look and make sure, does this pass the LinkedIn sniff test? Right? It's going to get a content quality scoring. Go, okay, we're going to send it the first golden hour, it's called. They're going to kind of watch it. We'll send it down the good quality scoring chute. We'll see how it goes. Are people liking it, viewing it? Are they complaining about it? Is it good content? What's going on with it? So they're kind of watching this golden hour. And then we'll determine where it goes, right? So it's not, you might see it pop up on your feed as soon as you post it, but not everybody else is going to see it that way. Right. So it depends on the quality score and the algorithm. Right. So example, terrible post, make super quick money, DM for details, not a scam, goes down the like bad egg chute. Right. I use like using movie analogies. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Veruca Salt, golden goose with the golden egg. Right. Remember, it goes down the chute, bad egg, ding, 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 good egg, or that's man, good egg, ding, ding, ding. So this goes down the bad egg chute. Like, I'm probably not going to show it. And kind of hide it in the background there, right? Not very good. They want to make sure they keep good quality content on here. Slightly better, right? My company, Fresher Than You, is the best company in the market, in the world even. Really great stuff. Amazing. Okay, a little braggadocious, but we'll send it down the good chute. We'll watch it, see what's going on with it. We'll demote it if it starts to look a little suspicious, so it's being watched. Better would be, I'm not going to read it, but a longer, remember, 1 to 2,000 words. They ask a question at the end of it. Couple questions. Anybody, what do people think? Any experts want to weigh in? You're getting people to engage with it. So it goes down the good egg chute, stays there. People are liking it. Doesn't go into the bad egg side at all, right? So think of your content this way. You want good quality content. Be a subject matter expert out there as well. Okay. Articles and newsletters. Anybody here, raise your hand, doing an article or a newsletter currently? Yes, in chat or raise your hand. Who's using this feature? And I'd be surprised if I'm not getting a lot of hand raises. And don't be, it's okay if you haven't. Nobody, not one person in the room. Okay, I'll raise my hand. So it's okay because it's not really a feature a lot of people know about. So if you are B2B, this is what okay, your hand, didn't see the hand raise, but yes, perfect. Okay, we got a couple. Don't know what it's about. I totally get that. So in addition to posting, you'll see here where that big fat arrow is, you can write an art. So think of this as blogs. It's called different things, but think of it as a blog, an article. One, it's not the newsletter you put out on your email. That's a bunch of different subject, what's going on in your company, and here's the latest news and da da da. It's called a newsletter, but think of it as blog. So if you're writing a blog article for your website, you should then come over to LinkedIn and do an article or a newsletter. And I'll explain the difference. So an article, you click on that right article. You can do it under your profile or your page. Both if you want. Okay, either one can do it, and you just post it up and it'll show up in the newsfeed to your connections or followers, just like your posts. It's good. It's content, to share on here, but even better is newsletter. Okay, but the difference is there is no number limit. Anybody, if you have one follower and one connection, you can create an article. But for the newsletter, you have to have over 150 followers or 150 connections. So most of us probably have over the 150 connections at this point, if you're active on LinkedIn and connecting. Some of us, I have a newer page created, I think years ago, but I finally got it up to like past 150 recently. So I started doing the newsletter under my page or profile where I have like 4,800 connections. Right. So until you have that number, you won't see the newsletter feature. So you go to the article section. When you hit that article button, the arrow on it, when you pull up profile or page, choose whichever one you have over 150, and then that create a newsletter will show up, and you create your title of your newsletters, your overarching title, like mine's always called Marketing News Tips and Hacks, and you create new editions of it. Oops, there we go. Actually show it here, and I'll show you the next slide. Where it shows up is more important, is the powerful feature. It doesn't show up in your news feed first. It shows up in the notifications box. I call it the inbox, right? First place you look when you log in is you say, oh, there's new notices. Treat it like you would pretend you have their emails and you're in their email inbox, right? You don't have their emails, but you kind of get the point. It's showing up here, new from Kalika Yap and Kalika Yap newsletter, The Thief of Joy. So her newsletter is just called Kalika Yap newsletter, very original. But her edition of her newsletter or the blog is called The Thief of Joy. Now, if this was the first time that she created a newsletter edition and I hadn't subscribed yet, there'd be a subscribe button right there next to the name of the edition. And people can subscribe from here, or when they open up the article, they can subscribe to it, right? So this can appear here first. And then you can see here, I think I did a screenshot last night. I have, after 7 editions in this over 5-month period, about one a month. I have 863 subscribers. Now, out of 4,800 connections, because this one is through my profile, we have 863, but not all of them are my first connections. Some of them are second, third. I post it up in my email to my list and say, hey, subscribe to my newsletter. So people who aren't connected to me are subscribing to it. So this is one extra powerful connection to my people online that I might not have had before. If I'm just posting, would 863 of them be looking at their news feed and seeing my random posts in there and connecting with them in some way, responding to them? Maybe, but probably not. But to get 863 people so far, as it's growing, to have my content in their inbox or notification box every time, see how powerful that is, right? Here's one. Someone just posted up, write newsletters that sell in 3 minutes. There we go. Thanks, Tim. Right. So get that content out there, blog content. You can have ChatGPT help with content as well, relevant to your business. See the last one I did here, the myth of making money first, why your marketing can't wait, right? Because I hear that all the time. When I make money, I'll be able to afford marketing. need marketing to make money. So again, and that number's growing. Like I posted that article 3 weeks ago, and that number's jumped. I think I grew, see here, this last 7 days, I had 16 new subscribers. I think it's jumped like 100 plus since I posted that article. So people are finding it, subscribe. I'm promoting it in my emails, I'm like subscribed to my LinkedIn newsletter. So I'm getting more people. I don't have to have their email addresses. Not everybody who subscribes reads every edition, just like everybody who receives your email doesn't open every single email, but just another powerful connection, deeper connection you can build with your LinkedIn subscribers or connections, right? And somebody asked about best times to post, I think each day, kind of like the YouTube shorts, a little bit different each day. You can mix it up, try each one, see which one works or not works, for you, but generally they know based on engagement that's going on, how active it is during these times. So is that scheduled for you? How to find leads on LinkedIn. All right, different things you can do for that. Definitely keep your profile updated. Make sure it doesn't look like you posted up 20 years ago when you're looking for a job, right? Updated pictures. Make sure your company is the #1 thing under your experiences rather than your last job that you had before you started your company. So your experiences, your company should be your previous job, and that will show up on your top of your profile, right? Add connections to your network. Look at who viewed you. That's a powerful place. Maybe there might be a reason they're viewing you. Maybe you want to connect, say, hey, what's going on? See who they are. Somebody you want to reach out to, perhaps. Potentially former clients, connections of your first connections. If they have them live or linkable on their profile, like if you see where it says 500 plus connections, if it's a live link, that means they have it available for anybody to go look. Some of you might have made that private, and there might be some people in your connections that might be of interest to you, right? Do searches for specific people or companies. This is the powerful part for B2B if you have specific audiences, specific niches that you have, this is where you can come search for them. Okay, I'll show you some tricks on that. Follow current clients, write and ask for recommendations. It's people that you work with or connected to, done business with. I'd say make them genuine. Join groups. A lot of activity happens in groups, whether it's your industry or industries you want to do business with. There's like CEO groups out there, and you want to reach out to CEOs to see what their big problems are that you might be able to help with. Listen, watch. You rather listen by saying, read the room, right? Just listen, see what people are posting and talking about before you add in, just like Facebook groups. You don't want to go in there and, so to speak, spam. I always say, introduce yourself in an advertorial way. Like, hi, I'm Patty of Golden State Marketing. I help businesses with social media and email, nice to meet everybody. So I'm kind of doing a little, marketing introduction to what I do and who I am without being overly salesy. I'm just like, hey, I'm just introducing myself to let you know who I am and what I do. But from there, I wouldn't start posting like, hey, hire me, right? Unless that's allowed in the group, then maybe I would do that. All right. So different types of searches you can do. You can, if you're looking for mechanical engineers, you can just type in mechanical engineer. There is some paid level, has some additional, like you can look for mid-senior directors, executives, etc. But type that in, you'll find mechanical engineers, and you can connect with them. Send a private note. On the free version, you're limited on how many you can send with notes per month. Paid version, I think it's unlimited. But put a note, maybe you met him, hey, great to meet you at the conference. Hey, I saw you in Patty's class and you shared your LinkedIn profile. Nice to connect. Love to learn about you, whatever you want to say on that. You can do that. And then once you've connected, whether you accepted the invite or they did, send a quick note. Hey, it's great to connect with you. Thanks for accepting my connection. Love to learn more about who you are and who you serve. Ask them first, how can I help you, with business, right? There we go here. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Tim. Tim's sharing lots of valuable links in there. So pay attention to the chat there. Another way to do it is a Boolean search. So if you're trying to pull a couple bits of information together into one search. So in this case, this example, you say, I want owners of environmental engineering firms. I don't want the marketing manager or the vice president or the janitor or the IT director. I want the owners. right? So I'm going to do in quotes, environmental engineering and in quotes, owner. So I just pull anybody who's listed as an owner and environmental engineering is in their title, some kind, or their company name. Now, there could be CEOs of environmental engineering firms or directors or presidents, right? I just start with owner and it will pull up as on the right, all owners with that title. But in the cases where there could be different titles or different ways they put their information, you might have to do a couple different Boolean searches. So in the case of, excuse me, English teacher at LAUSD, right? LA Unified School District, second largest school district in the country, right? We call it different things. I always say LA Unified. My mother was an LA Unified teacher. Somebody might have it listed on their profile as LAUSD or full Los Angeles Unified School District. So you're going to have, if I'm looking for English teachers, I'll probably have to try 4 different searches, right? LA Unified, LAUSD, LA Unified School District, etc. Law firm. Am I looking for the senior partner, or they call themselves the president, the executive director, the CEO? So you might have to try a couple different to gather everybody on there. So the trick is I'm trying to pull those, clear out all the other information, just pull in the information you want under the Boolean search. So that's what that's about. So, and I do have a separate LinkedIn class. I do go a little bit deeper than what I do here today. But B2B companies need to use social media just like B2C companies do, right? The CEOs and CMOs and CIOs all go home at the end of the day and turn into consumers, right? People Google your company and you have no web presence. It might be a red flag in this day and age, right? So you should be have a website. This is where all your information, your home base. Even in 2024, as people say, I'll just use LinkedIn as my website. No, yeah. If social media disappeared tomorrow, you have no website, you have no presence. It probably won't disappear, unfortunately, right? You should have your home base, your website. Talent cares about company culture. Instagram is perfect for that. Investors, journalists, industry leaders are out there looking for you, and you should have a way to talk to your customers. We do that via social media these days, right? So there's no magic way to grow social media, right? You just got to put in the hard work, be regular and consistent, speak to your market, clear brand voice, brand identity, quality content. Make sure your social media is out there for everyone to find on your website, your emails, wherever you are, on your dashboard, wherever it is. Share it everywhere. Follow influencers that are in your sphere, share their content, use hashtags, all of these things. You'll get these stats too. Content, I want to talk about this most important part. So I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can. I'll take off my sweater because it seemed to get warmer here now. So content is all what marketing is about. We need constant flow of content for our emails, our blogs, our social media, our website, right? We need share stuff about what we do to people so they can learn about us, right? So don't be worried, don't be scared of this. This is called content journey mapping. There's no one way to do this. This isn't going to be everybody's journey map. There's no template for this. This is for illustrative purposes for you to understand that your content is not silos, right? We think I got to do a blog over here. I have to do an email. Then I got to do some YouTube videos and I got, it's all separate. No, connect all of the dots in a journey, right? So how can you turn one blog post into 33 pieces of content? Not all of us can do that. But say, for example, you have blog post here and you're doing, see, Leanne, I think Leanne just took off, but I know her because she does promotional products like I do. So she does an blog article about the top 5 promotional products to grow your business. Okay. You can do one blog article with those 5 top points or 5 best treats to feed your dog for a healthy diet. But we take those 5 different top 5 promotional products to grow your business or top 5 dog treats, blow those into 5 different videos, short little one at a time, part 1, top number 5, best treat or best promotional product. Turn that into an email. Turn it into individual YouTube or videos, I should say, wherever you're going. 5 different social media posts. You can do it as one if you don't want to break them down, but just think about how you can reuse your content, right? So that's the person, whatever your journey map looks like, might be smaller than this journey map. but think about starting point and how you can obviously reduce. We don't want to reduce, we want to recycle, right? So that's the point of journey mapping. Think of your content as a journey, right? And then when you're building your content, you generally have 4 main content types, and then we have content pillars. So the content types here on this slide, right? Educational bucket, inspirational, promotional, interactive. We're probably all really good at promotional, right? Here's my product, here's my service, here's my product, here's my service, right? But when it comes to other content, what can we do? Right. So inspirational can be success stories, motivational quotes, testimonials, behind the scenes. Educational, that big bucket there, right? It's going to help you build trust, value, position you as an expert in business, right? How-to guides, FAQs, tutorials, industry insights, interactive content, right? Quizzes, polls, user-generated content. So within those buckets, we have pillars. If you're familiar with pillars, I don't know if anybody uses them, but content pillars, as it says here, are the key topics or themes that your brand content will revolve around. We're talking like social media. What are the foundational pillars of content that you can consistently message about, right? Think of holding up the Parthenon, right? The marble columns. What are those topics? So, and in general, just a breakdown of what the use of this content. Generally at 10% would be the promotional, and the other 90% here would be those other combination of those other 3: educational, inspirational, engaging, etc. Right? So not so much on the, shouldn't be fully promotional stuff on there, as you'll start to tune people out. So when you're building pillars, right, you can do this on ChatGPT and bring in the robot, and you can say, hey, either here's my website if you have the paid version, or hey, this is what my business does and I need content pillars. My calendar will have some prompts for you to use on either way. But in this case, one of my clients, he does company culture, leadership building skills, employee retention plans, etc. So his 8 that spit out were these, and we take 4 of them. Pick the ones that you know on a consistent basis you can create content around. Maybe every week you're not going to have testimonials or success stories, so that might be a sub pillar, smaller pillar. Pick the 4 solid ones and then sprinkle in the other ones of content. So you have plenty of ideas to add to your calendar here in these pillars, right? A couple other winery, and if we have any wineries in the room, right? Vineyard life, events and tastings, promotional offers, right? Testimonials. So hitting those 4 buckets, and then pick the top 4, and then you can always sprinkle in the other categories. Skincare brand, kind of the same, educational, promotional, right? Inspirational, engaging content. I'm not going to read all these. Travel agency, you can do travel deals and promotion, travel tips and advice, local culture, again, hitting those buckets, those categories. And nonprofits, you all know nonprofits in the room, same, whatever your cause is, you're going to have similar pillars, right? Impact stories, donor and volunteer highlights, behind the scenes, raising money, right? Most important as well. So, and I threw this in, this doesn't have to do with pillars, kind of tossed it in there before I went to the calendar section. Just as came up, Neil Patel, another marketing guru, did this study on the favored length of different types of content out there for video content. So that's kind of thrown in here for you to look at. I won't go through the slide. I just wanted you to have that. And then this is where, now we're getting close. I'm going to do this fast, Tim, as possible. This is the part most important, is the planning of your content, executing of your content, right? Probably where most of you get overwhelmed is, oh my God, I have to create videos. I got social media, email, blogs. How do I do it all? How do I manage it all, right? Does anybody feel that way? I'm just feeling like this lady on the slide just by talking about it. But if you're going to do it all on your own and have to manage it, having a process in place will help kind of streamline the overwhelm a little bit, flatten that process. It is very, and it's going to be time consuming. Unless you fully hand it over to somebody like me or hire somebody who's going to do all your marketing, if you're doing it, it is work, especially the creation part of it. So can you get some processes in place to streamline this, to make it a little bit easier for you, take away some of the overwhelm, right? So I break it down into calendar, create, and schedule, right? So your planning time, right? Like what's going to go on the calendar for the coming month. Then we have the creation. That's probably your biggest block. I got to create the graphics and the videos and the blogs and the emails, etc. And then the scheduling, using scheduling tools to help with that. Put them on your calendar, block your time on your calendar, honor that, because we know as busy business owners, we wear all the hats, right? And that hat might fall off if you don't schedule it. So honor that, get a month ahead, plan ahead at least a month if you can, work your way up to that. So right now in early May, you should be already planning for June and getting June content ready. Get on that calendar. So my calendar, I'm going to show you the different pages as quickly as I can. I'll be a little over. Fill out the calendar, get ahead on that, use that, whatever. If you want to use mine, it's a Google Sheets calendar. You can use it or find what works for you. But once you lay it out, and you'll see you can sync up all your content, makes it easier, right? Plan ahead as far as you can. Get ready for Q4, folks. It's like literally a few months away. You should have Q4 planned out by the end of August. If you're getting ready for holiday sales, don't wait until October. By end of August, so 3 months, 3.5 months away, right? So use a calendar to help you plan for, and then at the end of the year, on my new calendar comes out every October, you can start planning for the new year, but before the end of the year. I'm already planning with my clients by November for the coming year. So you want to get as ahead as possible to help take away some of that overwhelm, okay? Use tools like Canva to help you create great graphics. If you haven't touched Canva, go play with it. Canva.com, canva.com. Cheapest thrills you can have, $10 or $15 a month to easily create all your graphics that you need, all of your online and offline marketing materials. Great tool. Okay. For scheduling social media, I mentioned I use Metricool. I've used several over the years. Hootsuite, Post Planner, Later, Buffer. I just landed on Metricool about 6 months ago. I met the social media person who does their social and fell in love with the tool. Has great reporting, which is what I was looking for. Every single platform you can think of is on here to post. You can multi-schedule. As I mentioned, I can post to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, all at the same time and just tweak it per post. So I'm not connecting anything. So if you like the tool, there is a free version you can try out. It doesn't include LinkedIn on the free version, but if you want to pay for it, the next one up is $18 a month. And there is a code for a free month on there. I finagled a code out of them, Golden State. So I don't own stock in any of these companies or get any benefit. I just want to pass the savings on to you to try it. So the calendar itself, Google Sheets document, you're going to have a tab with hashtag days to use for social media, right? And those are the, Taco Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday, Motivation Monday. I'll show you on the calendar how to use those. And then the content pillars. So you have here the prompts for ChatGPT. You have the one for the paid version, one for the free version. So either one, you can paste your pillars that it spits out for you here. So you have them here and, tweak them, whatever you want to do with them. Okay. And then this pages are my older version pages. I just left them on the calendar. So some topic ideas for you to use. They're not really sorted by pillars at this point, but you can kind of play around with them here. Same with video. These are the older ones just to give you some additional ideas. Again, not sorted by pillars. And then you have the national holidays, quote unquote holidays, the fun ones and quirky ones, right? So in addition to the traditional Mother's Day, 4th of July, etc., nationaldaycalendar.com and calendar.com I pulled these from, and use these for engagement and reach. You can use them for email as well. I don't know if there's any wineries in the room. Any of the wine holidays I have marked in that left column. It'll have the word wine next to it for all my winery peeps. But use them for engagement. Ask a question. Hey, what's your favorite PB&J combo as a kid for National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day? There's actually a National Logistics Day that my client celebrates, right? June 25th. Have a barbecue. So there could become some directly related to your business or some that could make sense around your business, but have fun with these holidays. And they can be used again for email or social. So this is a B2C calendar. When you get it, it's empty. This is just for demo. right? You fill in based on the color coding. You have red for holidays, green for events, email campaigns in orange, website blog. So where you first put your blog is in baby blue, your LinkedIn article in dark blue or newsletter, social media post in purple. So that's just a static photo post, social media stories in baby or turquoise, we'll say, and videos in pink. Right. So I separated it out this year from previous years. First thing we do is usually plug in the holidays. So we'll go check off those boxes on the holiday tabs and then bring them on the calendar. So for this example, we're going to be using International Self-Care Day and National Hyaluronic Acid Day. This is a skincare brand, in addition to the New Year's and MLK Day for the month. So we'll plug those in first, and then we'll look at hashtag days. And I will, if I'm going to use Wellness Wednesday, I'm going to plug them in for the entire year. I'll just copy paste it all throughout the year. I might not use them, but let's bookmark it. You know, if I decide to take it off and do something else, we can remove it. So we're going to be using some Motivation Mondays and some Wellness Wednesdays. So I'll do those next. I'll plug in any events we have going on that we want to promote. If we're going to do a blog, I'll put which days I'm going to, publish the blog and promote it. So get those kind of base things going on, and then figure out from there, what exactly are we going to post, right? So for the holidays, International Self-Care Day, we're going to do a static social media post. And specifically, we're going to do 5 tips for fresh winter skin. On Hyaluronic Acid Day, we're going to have a sale on the hyaluronic acid serum that we sell. Okay. On Wellness Wednesdays, you see here, we're going to do a social media post. And for specifically on that second line of purple, we say, what are we going to post? We're going to do vitamin C skincare tip, a sun protection tip, foods for skin tip. Right. On Thursdays, not really a hashtag day, but we're going to do a how to use a product video. So on the second line, we're going to put specifically a lavender face wash video, a hyaluronic acid video, etc. So you get specific for planning and archive purposes. So you know exactly what you need to create. And then for next year, okay, we already did the extra creamy night cream video. We'll skip it or redo it again, right? So you get as specific as possible, and you can mix up. On the Wellness Wednesdays, we're going to do a social media post and we're going to do a story, because stories can disappear. So we're going to hit 2 different places with that. So however you want to break it out, right? When it comes to emails, you figure out, what do we have to promote via email? We have an event, we have sales going on, we have a blog post. So I know now I need to post the blog on my website, do a social post, and email it out. So you can see here, there's a lot going on, right? A lot of content to create, a lot of content ideas. And I could still fill it up. I can do multiple posts and content on each day. So you can't say there's not a lot to post about, right? And if you're B2B, calendar works the same way. Color coding, the only thing you'd use here obviously is LinkedIn. So you can see here on the 7th, I'm going to post a blog on my website. I'm going to do a LinkedIn newsletter. I'm going to do a social media post everywhere else, and I'm going to email it out. So now you're coordinating and syncing all of your content. Right. So everything works the same way. You plan out your events and your emails and everything for your B2B in the same exact way. Okay. So you'll get the calendar download, again, the Google Sheets when you get everything else, and try it out and use it. And let me know if you like it. A couple other pages real quick. This is called the social post page for each month. So this is where you're going to lay out all your social media posts ahead of time as you're planning. So by the middle of the month, we'll have the next month's page ready for our clients that want to pre-approve it. So for June content, we'll lay out this page by May 15th. We'll have the captions, the hashtags, any links, the image. They can review it, say, edit it, we re-edit, they re-review it, they approve it. Now you might not have all those steps, but even if you don't, lay all your content out here. So at the end of the month, when you're getting ready to schedule it, I just have my Google Sheets up on my browser. I have my Metrical up, and I'm just going for about an hour and a half. I'm just copy, paste, upload, schedule, and I have the whole month done within an hour and a half with a scheduling tool. It's that easy if you use a scheduling tool. So that's your social media post or prep page. And then new this year is a blog post prep page. So you can lay out all your blog topics for the month, for wherever you do the whole year. And then you can, some of my clients want to approve topics, and then we create the blog and then they approve the blog. The Google Drive link is that we put the blog on a Google Docs to share it. So when I'm sharing for them to edit or look at it or review it, they look at that. And then once we publish it, there's one last column at the end that's the actual website link to the blog on there. So this is where you can lay out all your blog stuff. And there's also now an email layout page. So you can lay out all your emails ongoing here. So we're going to do this email January 2nd. We're going to have these two topics. We're going to link to these two pages. And here are the images we're using, the subject and preview line and all that. So you can lay all that out ahead of time. So everything can be synced and planned here. Pretty easy, right? So to wrap up, finally, thank you for hanging out. Don't chase followers. Focus on content to create fans that turn into customers. Okay, I'm not going to read this. I want you just to get the slide and think about these things as you're building your social media plan. If you don't have one, think about your capacity and skills, your business, financial aspect, how you manage all this content. What is it it's going to take to build your social media program, right? If you need any help with that, you're welcome to schedule no obligation talk with me, little strategy session. You can scan that QR code or go to callwithpatty.com and talk to me about your social media. So from there, I think there is maybe one question there, and then I'm going to pass it back to Tim. Do you have any recommendations for free or inexpensive websites? You can actually create one on Canva. I think you have to have a domain to host it still. But I would do something like Fiverr. To have somebody build one for you. Wix is probably an expensive site. You still have to pay for it, but not too much on the free side. I'd be careful about what you get for free. You got to pay for your domain hosting. Usually the sites like Shopify, Wix, etc., they keep up with all the upgrades and maintenance and all that. So that does cost something. So, you definitely want to pay something for that to make sure you have what you really want, because free might not be what you want. So I'll pass it back to Tim. I think that's it. I'm already over, and I appreciate the extra time to share this with you.
Oh, my Patty, that was just so much great information. Obviously, everybody is going to be dying to get their hands on the recording and the slides, and we will get those out hopefully by the end of this week. And that'll be a great reference to go back to, or reach out to Patty if you would like to schedule a one-on-one consult. So thanks everybody for staying late. Thank you, Patty, so much.
Welcome.
And we'll be together again next month, I think, for email essentials.
Yes, very important. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.